Hey everyone, Ben here, and we're back with a brand new F1 23 cockpit career. No assists, no flashbacks, and of course, cockpit cam all the way. And as you can see, this year we're entering a brand new team into Formula 1. We've got the backing from the Argentine state investment company, title sponsorship from global energy supplier Xenon, and an engine deal with Renault. Now this livery and other Broca designs were made for me by Tom Designs. There's a link in the description to his services if you'd like a custom livery made too. But as we get ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix, sitting alongside me in the team is last year's Formula 2 runner-up Théo Pourchaire. But we have got our work cut out for us. The car is not quick and we're on the back foot here on the first race weekend of the season. As you can see, as we run down the grid, we've got the usual suspects at the front. Max Verstappen on pole from Charles Leclerc, then Sergio Perez, Hamilton, Russell and Alonso, followed by Norris, Gasly, Stroll and Ocon rounding out the top 10. Carlos Sainz picked up a penalty. He's going to be starting down in 14th, but the wait to see a Broca car on the grid goes on and on right the way down to 19th position. That's as good as I could manage in qualifying. Unfortunately, my teammate will be starting at the very back of the grid. We've got a 20 lap race coming up. Can I make some progress on this race debut for the Broca Formula 1 team? It's dusk in the desert as we're waiting for the 5 red lights on the grid then for the first time, and we've been held for an age. Eventually we get underway, but look at that up ahead, Valtteri Bottas bogging down. That squeezes Zhou over to our side of the track. We're able to make up a position straight away off the start, in fact maybe two, as we barrel down into T1 alongside Hülkenberg. We're going to have the inside line, just trying to make sure that I don't make contact with any other driver here. We have to give the position to the Haas there. He had more traction on the outside, so we're running in P17 then. We've gained 2 spots from the Alfa Romeo drivers off the start, and now we're just trying to get the car up to temperature through this opening lap. It's single file through this next section of the track. The car is going to be sluggish and lazy on full race fuel and cold tyres. You can see I'm just having to fight it slightly, but we've got an opportunity down the inside of Hülkenberg into the right-hander. We catch him napping there, and we're up into P16 as he was caught by the concertinaing traffic up ahead into the very tricky left-hander here then. Very hard to get the car slowed down without locking the brakes and running wide there. We manage it pretty well on this opening lap, so got to be pleased with gaining 3 positions off the start then. Now it's got to be about seeing if we can keep pace with those cars around us. In terms of the underlying speed of the car, we've got a pretty good chassis versus those cars around us at the back of the grid, but we're down on engine power as well as downforce. And just as I'm checking to see if my tyres are up to temperature, I've left the door open for Hülkenberg. He comes powering past me. I caught him napping earlier in the lap, but he's got me right back towards the end of the opening lap there then. Can I get him back on this start-finish straight? I've got the battery deployed. We're going max power here. No DRS yet, but it's going to be enough to get me in a slipstream. I pull alongside into the opening corner here. There's a slight bit of contact, but I've got him on the brakes down into the hairpin. So just as soon as I'd lost that position to an opportunistic Hülkenberg, I was able to get it back, and that is a really successful opening lap. Let's take a little look back at the race start. You see Bottas on the right hand side bogging down. That catches his teammate out. It gives me the opportunity to gain 2 positions off the start line, and then here is that last couple of corners of the opening lap, the battle with Hülkenberg. He sneaks down my inside, but then I've got enough battery to deploy of my own, heading down onto the start finish straight. Cars fighting for position up ahead of me, but you'll see me swing to the inside. That's going to give me the high ground for the hairpin. I then just squeeze him slightly to the outside. He moves under braking there, but thankfully not significant contact, and I'm through and up into P16. On to lap 5 then, and DRS has now been enabled. I'm on the medium tyres here, so everybody else around me starting on the soft, which has meant that I've just been struggling a little bit to keep hold of Tsunoda up ahead. We have gapped Hülkenberg, who's battling with Zhou, behind, but now that we're into the middle of this opening stint, I can feel the pace of the race is starting to come back towards me. The soft tyres have gone off from their peak. The medium tyre might be the tyre to be on here as we open our DRS, and we've got to run on Tsunoda down into T1. Is this going to be a carbon copy of the Hülkenberg move? Oh, we get a big shove big tyre banging there from Tsunoda. Not quite sure what that was all about. He's still on my inside here as we come through the second part of the opening corner, and we managed to make the position our own. Let's take a look at that on replay. That was very aggressive from Tsunoda there. Whether he lost the car under braking, we come together there very close to a big accident. Thankfully, no damage, and in the end, I was able to pass him and get the position as my own. On to lap 7 then, and we're following the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, and our race pace is definitely stronger than I was anticipating, at least at this point of the race, on this medium tyre, and we are just about holding on to the traffic up ahead. I think I'm being helped by Magnussen in the Haas ahead of Piastri, just holding him up a little bit at this point of the race. And again, once we got past Tsunoda, I was able to build just a little bit of a gap. So I'm expecting the soft tyre runners around me to come in around lap 9. I'm going to try and go an extra lap or two on these medium tyres and then switch to the softs for the second part of the race. That should give me more speed as we get towards the end of the Grand Prix. But we're through the left-hander here. I've carried more speed than Piastri up ahead. He's got the DRS, but so have I. We're going to pull to the inside and try and make a pass here at the end of this second DRS zone into the left-hander, down into fourth gear. Just hug the inside, and really there's no way of getting around the outside there for Piastri, and that's another overtake so far in the opening half of this race. This is going way better than I thought it would as I was lining up on the grid. We can see it again here then. I just feint towards the outside. That then gives me some space on the inside. It's too late for Piastri to defend by that point, and we're able to hold the apex and get through on his inside. On to lap 8 then, and we are closing in on the pit window here, and I'm closing in on the rear wing of Magnussen. He's running slower than I am, but look at that, we get a warning on the left hand side there. Green flag flashed up. That probably means there's a yellow flag up ahead, and yes, George Russell is out of the race. I wonder if it's been an accident or a mechanical related issue. Russell was running up in second position. There he is, off to the left hand side of the track. That's a disaster for Mercedes on this opening race weekend. We're on to lap 9 then, and again I'm closing in on Magnussen, but actually at this point of the race I wasn't able to get alongside him. He's going to peel off into the pits as the soft tyre runners do come in for their scheduled stop. My pit window is now open. You can see we're gaining places into the top 10 as other drivers have come in to get rid of those red walled tyres. On the very next lap we just made the speed limit for the pit lane. We're coming into the pits, Piastri just behind me then. A quick stop here is going to be vital. Tsunoda came in on the previous lap too. He may very well have the undercut here. Any thought of going longer in this stint, I had to cancel that because I don't want to lose track position to the AlphaTauri driver who will be coming down the start-finish straight now. And if you look towards the left-hand side and in the rearview mirror, you can see we're going to be side by side with Tsunoda into T1. He's on my outside right now. I've got to give him space. We just squeeze him out there, but he's going to have a much better run down this DRS zone. Because he's got his tyres into a better operating window, I'm going to have to go defensive here. Even though I've got the tyre advantage, he will be quicker at this point of the race. He's still on my outside here. You can't quite see him, but I promise you, he's there. We're running side by side through these S's, and we're going to have to try and hold position around the outside, and we've made it stick. That was fantastic racing just as we came out of the pit lane there, side by side. Let's take a look at some of that battling again from the T-Cam. You can see just how close we were to contact there, and actually he's got a nose ahead at this point of the track as we come through the right-hander, but then we're just able to hold it through the left, and the position was mine. On to lap 12 then, and we're continuing to have to defend from Tsunoda. I'm not yet able to pull a gap on the AlphaTauri driver. He's managing to stick within half a second, but thankfully he didn't mount an attack there with DRS. I don't have DRS, so I'm struggling for straight line speed even more than I would be anyway with the car that we've got under us on this opening race weekend. Again, you can see Tsunoda closing in behind me. I'm going to have to try and get these soft tyres working as quickly as I can, otherwise otherwise the rest of this race is going to be spent defending from behind. But as we get into the middle section of this lap, I can feel the grip of the tyres coming towards me, and all of a sudden I'm able to get better traction out of some of these corners and just start inching away from Tsunoda behind me and start thinking about getting back onto the rear wing of the Haas driver up ahead. And you can see we were able to just start building that gap. But onto lap 14, Lance Stroll came out of the pits. He went slightly long on his opening stint. He's now trying to get past Magnussen up ahead. That fighting might just bring me back into contention into the last quarter of this race to see if I can't fight for P12. Unfortunately, my teammate Theo Pourchaire, he's had to make a second stop. I'm not quite sure why, but that has wrecked his race. He's going to be right towards the back of the field as we flash forward onto lap 15, and you can see the gap to Magnussen is coming down. So it looks like at this point of the race I've got more speed than the Haas driver. A move for P12 here is definitely on. If I can just stay consistent, I'm going to try and spend all of my battery on the start finish straight to come. I'm going to be within his DRS. Let's see if we can't make the move and then see what's possible in the last handful of laps of this race. We are a little bit further back here, but he's not spending his battery, so I'm going to dummy to the inside, then swing back to the outside line as he defends. This should hopefully give me a clean run around the outside. Let's hope Magnussen doesn't squeeze me out onto the curb. He doesn't. I'm given room, which means I'm able to hold the move around the outside. He might try and fight straight back here, so I've got to be very alert as we climb up towards the braking zone of the right-hander, but he's not close enough. I do miss the apex, but thankfully Magnussen was not alongside. Let's take a look at that move once again on replay then. A bit of a dummy here on the AI as we shape to go to the inside, then swing back to the outside. I've got the overspeed with the DRS, and then actually I was given plenty of room on the outside of the corner. Keep it off that curb and then get better traction on these soft tyres out of the corner. And that really was the last substantive action of the race. We did see Valtteri Bottas retire, but that happened behind us on track. We're going to come home in P12. I just didn't have the speed to get back up towards any other drivers further towards the top 10, but I'll be honest, a P12 out of this opening race weekend was way better than I was hoping for when we qualified P19. Confirmation then of the final result, Charles Leclerc taking the win from Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, who rounded out the podium. That means the driver standings and the constructor standings look like this. Our title sponsor wants us to get up to P8 in the constructors. We're going to rely on developments to the car, and this is what we've got in train for the next race. So some aero and engine improvements. Hopefully that'll mean by the time we get to Australia we're able to fight a little bit harder with the midfield. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this opening episode of F1 23. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments, leave a like on the video and subscribe so you don't miss any future races in this series. And I'll see you on the next one.